Hey guys, welcome to this blog. We're going to be talking about artificial intelligence. And believe it or not, AI is more than just a word used by companies during earnings calls to help boost their share price. It's actually got some really cool, practical, real life uses. In the last year or so, as a business, we've been using AI a ton. We use it for things such as a search engine. We have it integrated with a lot of softwares. For example, we can take a meeting, have it summarized, have it analyzed, and give us insights, which is really great. But we're going to be talking about using it on a personal level, and I bet you're going to be very surprised by some of the uses for it. And hopefully, after watching this, it'll make your life a little bit easier. We're going to be using ChatGPT, which is what I'm most familiar with, but there's some other great language models out there, such as Gemini or Claude. So let's just jump right in. Okay, so if we plug in the URL for ChatGPT, you can Google the name or just type in chatgpt.com. You'll get to a page similar to this. And at the bottom here, we can just go ahead and start typing in our prompt. So we're going to start out with one of my favorite things about ChatGPT, and that is the image generation. I plug in a prompt for a blog titled Leveraging AI to Make Your Life Easier. I've actually done this with the last couple of my blogs, and it's really cool. You can go back and look at them, but the pictures it comes out with are really very neat. Alright, so this is what it came up with the first one. Not bad. And it's coming up with the second one. Let's go ahead and plug in another prompt in the interest of time. So I read a lot of books, and whenever I read fiction and there isn't any TV or movie adaptation, you can kind of have a hard time picturing the character. So what I'll do is I'll just plug in the name of the character and the book, generate a picture of the old man from The Old Man and the Sea, Ernest Hemingway. Really good book, you should check it out. But it's an old Cuban man. He's a fisherman, and he goes out one day to catch fish. And yeah, if you've read the book, then you'd probably agree that this is a pretty great picture and actually very accurate to the description. So that's really cool. So a really cool thing about all of this is you can always go back and ask the AI to make changes. So let's say, you know what would the old man look like if he had sunglasses on too? So it'll take your previous prompt, it'll take the change that you provided, and it'll run another one. And you can see it gave us a pretty cool old man. So I love doing that, it's really great. Next we want to talk about is basically using this as like a search engine, and looking up definitions, for example. So we'll start out with this one. Define fixed income investments, and pops it out so quick like that. You can see we got bonds, we got treasury securities, all really good information. And when you ask questions like this, there have been times that ChatGPT will give you an answer that isn't 100% correct. So what you can do from there is just say, give me a source. At the very least, it'll direct you to an actual article where you can find this information to make sure it is all accurate. So let's see, and gave me two sources here. So that's awesome. Another question you can ask, this has definitely come up in the last few years. Let's see, what happens to the price of bonds when rates go up? And our answer is right there. The price of existing bonds typically falls, and then it gives reasons why it happens: interest rate impact, market demand. Read into it, and it actually took this prompt up here and started giving me sources on this. It likes Investopedia, that's a pretty good site, so that makes sense. We'll go ahead and get into another use for it, which I like to do when I'm writing papers or essays or blogs. I don't ask the AI to write it for me, but what I'll start out with is an outline. So I said, outline a 5-paragraph essay on the best use of AI, and it gives you this. This is a really, really good starting point. A lot of times what takes most when writing is just coming up with structure, coming up with idea. So this really helps you be efficient when you're trying to get something down on paper. Something that I don't use a whole lot, but I have seen a lot of cool things online about it, is typing in some sort of symptoms that you're having and seeing if the AI can come up with reasons or solutions. So I said, I have a bad headache and an upset stomach. What are some possible causes? Dehydration, stress, migraine, caffeine withdrawal. So that all makes sense. If this is happening to you, plug some stuff in, and maybe one of these will make sense to you, and you can go ahead and figure out how to treat it. And then one other thing that I haven't explored as much as I want to is this AI has been known really well for coming up with recipes. Another thing it'll do is if you give it a series of ingredients, it'll actually make up a meal for you to make with those. So we're gonna plug this in, and it says, give me a recipe for a high protein smoothie. Okay, just like that. Scoop of protein powder. We have some Greek yogurt in there, banana, berries, or any fruit of your choice. You know what? Let's say I don't like berries. It'll listen to you and says, here's a modified high protein smoothie recipe without berries. And there we go. Made some changes, and now it includes some different ingredients here, and really just works around. If you have dietary restrictions, works out really well for this. But I think the best way to actually really learn how to make the most use of this tool, and it is a really powerful tool, is to use it yourself. A lot of times it's just fun to do it for stuff like image generation, like what I did, but I'm pretty sure that soon, like me, you'll start using it more and more, and it'll be a part of your daily routine, making your life a little easier, making you a little efficient, and saving you time. So these are just a couple, some examples, but there's some great resources out there if you want to dive a little deeper into this. I hope you learned something today, and this just kind of gives you a brief look into how we're approaching this kind of AI boom at Detterbeck Wealth Management. We're leveraging these tools in the best way possible, and we're working on it every day, so we get better, the software gets better, and hopefully we can provide the best client experience as possible. So that's what we're all about. If you have any questions on this, please let me know, and just remember, it's not perfect, so check the sources, ask it to make changes. It's learning just like you are, but hopefully this will help. Thanks.